So what does success look like for you now, and has that changed over the years?
Yeah, hugely. Success for me now, you know what it's going to be. It's going to be personal alignment. It's going to be authenticity. It has to be. It has to be. It has to be. Success for me is hitting what your bliss pillars are and what my positive psychology pillars are.
Yeah.
And the positive psychology, you have your bliss, which is bravery, laughter, inspiration, spark, and success. PERMA is the backbone of positive psychology, and I've touched on a couple of them.
Yeah.
The first one, that the positive psychologists, when they start to do the research into what makes us flourish, is positive emotion. So I ask myself, like, am I getting more positive emotion in my life than negative emotion? Doesn't mean that I'm going around the place farting, bleeding, sprinkles and that's it. You know, it's not. I'm not doing handstands and jazz hands everywhere, but am I getting more positive emotion in my life? So if I'm meeting that quota, then that's going to be part of my success. E is engagement. Am I being honest with my own creativity? Am I writing? Writing lights me up. And I stopped myself doing it for too many years, 3 decades, to my shame. I'm not doing that anymore, Mary.
No.
And if you don't like my writing, stuff it. I don't care.
Don't read it.
Don't read it
Yeah.
and read on.
Yeah.
If it's full of cliches, as my inner critic tells me it sometimes is, so be it.
Yeah.
So that's the creative part. And also building a business is creative, working with clients is creative, it's a relationship, it's really important. So I think that's where I get my engagement, and ranting and dipping and all the rest. R is relationships, investing in relationships, and not just stumbling into, friendships, or being measured, being organised, setting times in the calendar where you show up for your friends. So like, I've got my best mates from school, not my school, but from the school I used to work in. We've kept together, the mums group, and they're all coming around to mine tomorrow night to watch the Eurovision. Yay,
Right, yeah.
go Ireland. But the relationships with your family, and they've done that study, the longest study ever. You've probably heard of it, the Harvard study of longevity, called I think it's The Good Life. And Robert Waldinger has done loads of work on this, and his biggest takeaway, the people who lived, this 80 years they've been studying this cohort of men, and the people who lived the longest and had the best health and were the happiest had the strongest relationships. And they weren't just romantic relationships, but they were the people who invested in relationships.
That's
So
the connection.
That's the connection again. M is meaning and purpose. So when I was not doing this, I was always desperate to find, I always had it.
Yeah.
That spark was there, and I expressed it in the classroom, teaching film studies or English or media. And I loved teaching those subjects, and I still do. I love those subjects. But I wanted more. And that meaning and purpose, it was really, I think sobriety gave me meaning and purpose, because it made me aware and awake.
Yeah.
Awake
is the key.
And I think that's why my handle is at Sunrise Sobriety, and underneath I've written wide awake to an alcohol-free life, because I believe it.
Yeah.
And the final one is accomplishment, and that's achievement, but that can be mini accomplishments, like me doing a little workout in the garden this morning. That's a huge accomplishment for me. Drinking loads of water and having to go to the loo every 10 minutes today, that's a huge accomplishment. Mini things, little goals that you can set yourself. If you're hitting all of the areas of PERMA as often as you can in a day, that to me is success.
Yeah.
Now it's changed. Historically, success would have been the usual, the things that we think we want, what psychologists call miswanting, the family, the settling down, having enough money to be comfortable. These are all really important, don't get me wrong. And holidays, traveling. And they're still really important, and there's still something that I aspire to have in my life, but that isn't the ultimate marker of success, and nor is getting to the top of whatever ladder is there. If you don't feel aligned, then what's the point? There's no point.
No.
And you're just essentially going on a one-way collision course to burnout. That's what I've found with people I've worked with in the corporate world, people I've worked with in education. You know, the work can only go so far. But I must admit, I was never. I've never, nobody, anyone who's listening to this who knows me would never be sitting there going, well, you were never one of those people as a worker.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, this is me, I'm very successful, I'm wearing power shoulders. And no, that wasn't ever me. But yeah, that's what I think success is, alignment and authenticity.
I love that, because that's a real measurable, you've almost put a measurable structure around it, but not in a restrictive way or like a productivity way, but things that you could actually say, as you say, on those 5 things on your hand, you can check in every day and go, what have I achieved those today? And when you start to reflect, you start to be more aware, and when you're more aware, you start to put these things in your life more, to actively include them into your life, so that you are. And even on bad days, it's okay. You know, success isn't you're soaring at the peak of that mountain all the time. Success is actually, again, being authentic and being aligned and going, I feel like shit today, actually. I'm actually going to stay in bed and, you know, binge watch Succession. Well, you do need that, don't you? You need a wallow sometimes. But it's getting back up the next day.
And it's knowing that this is what I'm using today as a form of self-soothing, but it's not something that I'm going to do all the time. You know, and because you could really lie to yourself a lot by saying, well, there's a big chasm really between self-care and, you know, just sloth.
17 days in of watching Friends has strayed from self-care,
it's like
into probably a bit of a
come
depressive
on now.
episode.
But success. So what's success to you?
To me, it's freedom. The freedom to choose how I fill my days. And I'm actually doing the manifestation. I've got a book, and my manifesto is, I am building a life of contentment, filled where I get to choose how I fill my days and how I help other people. And that's like my daily manifesto. So for me, success is that freedom to be able to do what I want, but whilst helping others as well. That
is integral, actually, and I forgot to mention that, but that came into the relationship side of things. When I talk about relationships and investing, it's the giving back bit that makes it magic. And that's why I think the work that we do, it's so important to be of service in some way. That is when you are aligned when you're in service, aren't you? And I think you're not doing it for, I mean, we need to get paid, and we have businesses, and we have hungry mouths to feed, you know, let's be honest about this. But it's not, because we've invested our time in ourselves and in what we believe in, I think that it's an honest cross that we're earning.
Absolutely.
And we bloody deserve it.
And it's worth it. It's a value.
It is a value.
You've got to put a value on it. And money is just an exchange of energy. We just have it. It just has a name, doesn't it? The olden days, you might have been a healer and you would have bartered that for your eggs or some meat. You know, so it's only the same thing, but money just has a very negative connotation now, doesn't it? That
I've changed my appreciation of money as well, interestingly enough, because when I was younger, and that comes into the success thing, I think that ambition and all of that to me was a bit dirty, a bit like a bit like, oh, I'm not that kind of Tory, you know, pushy,
pinstripe shoes,
oh, yuppie, money's bad, I'm a socialist. And now I think money's great. You can do a lot of great things with money. Can't you? You can help a lot of people with money. You can treat a lot of people with money, and you can treat yourself. Why? And that's going to tick all of my boxes with PERMA, isn't it? You know,
exactly.
So bring it on, I say.
I love that. So our final question then is, we ask people to say, what do you think your younger self would say if they could see you now? So maybe you, when you moved to Ireland and everything was very difficult to pinpoint.
That's so hard. I was so lost, because it was really difficult. And I was trying to be brave for my parents, whilst also being a bit bolshy, and trying to be brave for my sister and brother, because I was the oldest, and they get very upset seeing me kind of getting into scraps with boys. But I also kind of enjoyed it as well, in a mad way. It's terrible. But I think that version of me would say, cool. I think she'd say cool.
Yeah.
Because I was pretty feisty despite it.
Yeah.
I think my teenage self would say, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I think my 30-year-old self would say, Jesus, about time. I think that's what she'd say.
Yeah.
Or thank you.
Yeah.
Actually, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that, through the ages.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, because I can't say the younger version of me, because we evolve so much, don't we?
Yeah.
We change so much, and it's so important to realise that I'm not the same person that I was with that friendship that I had with my friends when I was 11 to now. And some people find that hard to kind of understand.
Yeah,
we do, don't we, as well?
Yeah, I think people know, if they know you in an era, shall we say, and then you change, it's hard for people to not still see you as the person that they knew, isn't it? And then that also holds up a mirror to perhaps the fact that they haven't changed much as well.
I think my essence was always the same.
Yeah.
That's the thing I love about the character strengths. I think if I had done the character strength test then, it didn't exist then. Positive psychology wasn't really a field then. It's only 20 years old. But if it had been and I had done it, I think I would have definitely, because when you feel alive and when you feel at your best, that's, so my peak times, that's when those 5 character strengths would be showing. Yeah. And I can pinpoint times in my life when I've been at my best, and clearly I've been exhibiting all of those 5. Yeah. I'd urge people to take the test. It's viacharacter.org.
I was going to say, can you take the tests on that? I'm like literally going to rush off and do that.
Honestly, get the kids to do it. Yeah. Get the wife to do it. Get everybody you know to do it. Yeah. I'm evangelical. You think they'd be paying me? I should actually write to the VIA Institute. But it's brilliant. Yeah. And just knowing your strengths is going to make you, a lot happier. But if you can try and actively use them. So if you go onto my website, lizfolan.com, or follow me on the socials. I was just going to ask you where
we can find you, because I'll put it in the show notes as well.
You can find me on Instagram. I do a lot. That's at Sunrise Sobriety. On LinkedIn, I'm Liz Folan, MSc Positive Psych, because I paid for that master's, so I'm going to bloody put the letters up there.
Too really right.
Sometimes I feel a bit like an arsehole, but it's there. Yeah. So that's where you can find me there. But I share a lot of content there, and then lizfolan.com. You can't really do much with the website because I'm still not that competent with it, but I do put blogs up there. Yeah. And I do, as I say, I launch challenges all the time, and the current one is the Rise Sunshine Challenge, which I don't know when this is going out. This might not go out till...
Probably, maybe in a month's time.
Oh, well, that's okay. It's still the summer. Yeah. This is going to be for the whole of the summer until the end of August.
Right, okay, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And I've got 4 pillars, RISE. R is for reflection. So I urge people, this is where you use your strengths, to do 1, 2, 3. 1 win from the past 24 hours, anything at all. 2 strengths that you have used in the past 24 hours from the character strengths. Write all 24 hours somewhere on a notebook and then just refer back. And 3 gratitudes. Yeah. So you do that every day. I is inspiration. Read something that's going to develop you. So there's the Badass Book Club I mentioned is Indistractable this month. You can read it, you can listen to it. I'd prefer if you read it, because we're losing the art of reading.
Yeah, I can't listen to audiobooks because I fall asleep.
Well, I like to listen to them. I like to do both, to be honest, but I'd say do that. That's the inspiration. Find some inspiration for half an hour every day. S is self-acceptance. Be aware of your self-talk. So I've called you out a few times today. Be aware. But also the other side of that is your social interaction side. Yeah. So if you have to drop the rope, which I've had to do, and I've done it because I'm on this challenge, there's been a few times when I could have actually pursued a line of argument and gone, no, take a step back, Liz, it's not worth the energy, mate. Yeah. So be aware of your self-talk, be aware of your social interactions. That's your self-awareness piece. And the last bit is E, which is exercise for 20 minutes every single day. Right. So you're doing yours.
I'm doing.
Yes. Starting tomorrow.
Yes.
You're starting tomorrow. So you can start this Rise tomorrow. RISE. Get a notebook, really nice notebook, and in that notebook every single day. Don't get me started on stationery. Love a good bit of
Stationery
stationery.
addicts, you see? Another thing to be addicted to.
Oh, and I use a fountain pen as well, Mary.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Got to have the fountain pen. So the stationery, you get yourself a nice notebook, and just every single day, I do it in the morning. It's part of my morning routine when I do my morning pages, which is a whole other episode, but it's so interesting. Do my morning pages, 3 sides of A4. I'm not asking people to do that. That's a bit too much to start with. But then I do my 1, 2, 3, 1 win, 2 strengths, and 3 gratitudes. Then a little bit of exercise and drink water and loads of coffee.
Yeah.
Loads of coffee. And honestly, it stands to me, whatever the season, if I've got a little routine like that.
Yeah.
It's golden.
Brilliant. I'm going to try that. So I'm going to do it, not try it.
No,
do
yes,
it.
you're going to do it, and I am going to harass you,
Right.
and text you and
Okay.
annoy you.
Good. I love it.
Accountability buddy.
That's
There
what
you
I
go.
need.
Well, it's so hard. You've got to, don't you?
Yeah.